The New England Patriots will win the AFC East this upcoming year. I'm going to be breaking down why I have belief that the Patriots will win the division over the Buffalo Bills. But before I get there, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on future content this football season. Also, hit the like button on this video and comment below who you think is going to win the AFC East in 2026. As I stated at the top of this video, looking at the odds, I love the Patriots as my futures bet to win this division. Plus 125, I can get it at plus odds. Meanwhile, the Bills are at minus 136 with a first-year head coach. We're going to talk about the Bills situation in a second here. I already did this with the AFC North. I don't like the concept of betting on a team that has a first-year head coach. No matter how good the roster is, there's just too much uncertainty that gets factored into that. Why would I not bet on a team that just got to a Super Bowl? Why would I not bet on a team that got to a Super Bowl and also was effective at addressing some of its biggest deficiencies? I understand the conversation, the narrative, and there's truth to this, that the Patriots had a lot of luck on their side from last year, and they had a very easy schedule during the regular season that bolstered their record and set them up to go on the run that they did. While that is important context to explain why the Super Bowl went the way that it did, it does not mean that we can't turn the page to this upcoming year and look what changed for them. To be very specific, big issue, inconsistency with the offensive line. Other big issue, lack of dynamic options at receiver. So what they did, they signed Elijah Vera Tucker, who I think is one of the best, not young, but younger guards that was available for them to go and get either via trade or free agency. He's been a little banged up, but he is stout, he's reliable, he's athletic. You drafted Caleb Lomu. Gives you flexibility for navigating, figuring out how you want to go about using this offensive line and who's going to fit where. And maybe he doesn't even start, but eventually can take over. That's at least depth. But you used a first-round pick on a guy that is a solid offensive line prospect. Romeo Doubs, one of the better, more underrated wide receiver twos in the NFL. He's dynamic. He can make big plays. And that signing wouldn't have been as impactful had they not gone and traded for A.J. Brown. The A.J. Brown bid is what swings this whole thing. And I'm surprised that didn't more aggressively swing the odds in the Patriots' favor. Stephon Diggs was a good player, and he was able to win in 50-50 ball situations, but I've got a younger player who is excited to be reconnected with his old coach, who is going to be freer on a team that's got a more talented quarterback in Drake Maye. More consistent, more natural passer than Jalen Hurts. That whole weird dynamic, it's done. A.J. Brown is going to have a much better year this year than he did last season. You added a guy who at his best is a top 5 receiver in the NFL. You added a really good secondary piece, and you also have nice depth at receiver. Your offensive line should be improved upon from last season. And I think that defensively, last year, it was shown that you were able to get a lot out of your defense, despite not really having very many stars. Very many like crazy, ridiculous, high-end players outside of Christian Gonzalez. The identity of this team worked last year. You were a well-coached unit, and you added stars to this roster. I'm going to bet on that. I'm going to invest in that because we already have a proof of concept. They beat the Bills. They won the division last year. As much as we want to talk about the easy schedule and all that crap, the Bills were playing the same division that the Patriots were. They were able to accomplish that going up against McDermott, who was winning the division consistently and had been there for a long period of time. What I don't understand for this blind buy-in for the Bills, look, Josh Allen is otherworldly, MVP caliber quarterback, unbelievable player. My first pause with buying him is that when you're making the transition from a head coach who was not meeting expectation and was not taking you over the hump. You stagnated, you got stuck, and it was the decided time of, all right, we have to hit the reset button, we got to transition. To hire someone in-house in Joe Brady, who was the play caller last year, who is now going to be the play caller this upcoming year, it begs the question on how much is going to actually be different. Was Joe Brady being held back by McDermott with his play calling? I would have thought that this offseason that they would have done more at receiver or tight end or some other positions to add weapons for Josh Allen. That was the problem. That was the question is, does Josh Allen have enough around him to capitalize on his talent so he doesn't have to do everything? Normally when we make the transition for a new head coach, a whole new identity is brought in. A whole new offensive philosophy is brought in. That is where we can maybe have the conversation, the discussion of, okay, this is where the Bills could get better because this new coach, this new offensive coordinator that is coming in is going to change something that wasn't working. But the same guy who was orchestrating the offense that was the liability last year is now the leader of the team. I think Joe Brady's going to be a great coach, but I'm not betting on that in year one. I think that this team still has situations to navigate. DJ Moore is a good receiver, but does bringing in DJ Moore solve those problems, those concerns for the lack of weaponry available for Josh Allen? I really would have thought that they would have spent an earlier draft pick on a wide receiver, and they didn't do it. Skylar Bell was the earliest drafted receiver that they brought in, and he was a kid from UConn who was really talented, who has growth needed. He's a green prospect who has upside but needs to grow and develop. He's not going to be just an immediate impact rookie. I don't know what to expect from this offense and if there's going to be very much of a difference. There was not, outside of backup level depth, not many changes outside of going and getting DJ Moore. Now defensively, I think that they're going to be more dynamic. I think that Bradley Chubb and TJ Parker and Zane Durant and Caleb Elam-Zor, those are all really nice players to add into the mix. And, defensively, you're already pretty good. So there's a chance that your defense improves after being a solid unit a year ago. But I think that they're going to finish in second. I think that they're still going to be a playoff team. Maybe they go on a run, but I'm not betting on a first-year coach who is navigating his first ever season with the pressure on his shoulders of trying to win in the shadow of the guy that was your boss or his boss. Just doesn't make any sense to me. Now, in this division, we've got Jets at plus 1,900. We've got the Dolphins at plus 4,000. I think the Jets are going to finish in third, just considering the fact that the Dolphins have a lot of work ahead of them. I don't know if Malik Willis is going to be that good. I don't think that the receiver room has much to buy into. Their offensive line could be a problem. Defensively, they have some nice pieces, but a lot that needs to be proven. The Jets could be intriguing, though. I don't have much faith that Geno is going to be very effective, but I think that the Jets' offensive line deserves more respect than it maybe gets. I think at receiver with Omar Cooper and then now Kenyon Sadiq at tight end and also Mason Taylor coming back, they could do some creative things offensively. And I think that defensively, with a lot of new faces coming in, with some money spent, they could also be a little bit more dangerous defensively too. David Bailey could have a really good first year in the NFL. This Jets team, if they ended up upsetting the Patriots or the Bills or both of them, getting a win against both teams this year wouldn't stun me, wouldn't shock me. Because there's growth. There is improvement for the Jets, but they're kind of like the Browns where they're a year away from being a year away, but they've got the foundation for when that young quarterback comes in and takes over the team. Do me a favor, folks. Comment below who you think is going to win the AFC East. Hit the like button on this video and subscribe. I'll talk to you later.